Hi, welcome to a very interesting video. In this video, you learn how to use Python to start the computer webcam and create a Flask web app where you stream the video being captured from the webcam. And you learn how to capture the video from one device and watch it through the web app on another device within the same network. So this is the live video, hi, and you can see the IP address. This is being captured in another computer, but I'm watching it on yet another computer. So we will build that app from scratch. I'm going to be using PyCharm on my local computer for this app. I cannot use REPL because we have to access the computer webcam. And REPL is just a Linux server without a graphical user interface. It doesn't give us access to the webcam of that server. So the computer where I'm coding will be the computer which have the webcam. And then you can access the web app from your mobile phone, given that your mobile phone is connected to the same network. For example, to the same wireless network with your computer. There are also ways to make the webcam streaming IP public so everyone can access it from outside your network. But you have to do additional admin configurations for that. So we'll not cover that part, just the part where you can access the web app from the same network. So I've opened an empty folder on PyCharm and I will create an empty file here and name it main.py. The libraries we will be using here are two. First, it's OpenCV to get the video from the webcam, and then Flask to build the web app, and then send the streaming of OpenCV to Flask so that you can see the streaming on a web app on the browser. So first we're going to build the OpenCV part. So I'm going to import CV2 and install CV2 first. On my system, it's enough to say pip install opencv-python. I'm using a virtual environment, so all I have to write is pip. If you are not using a virtual environment, you know you might have to use pip 3.10 or whatever Python version you're using. Once OpenCV is installed, I can go ahead and create a video variable which is equal to cv2.videoCapture. Video capture is the class that will start the video. Now here you have to input either a 0 or a 1 or maybe a 2, but it's probably 0 or 1 depending on the configuration of your webcam on your laptop. So if it's a laptop, it's probably 0. If you have a second camera, it's probably 1, but sometimes it could be 1 if all you have is just a laptop. So for me, it works with 1. Then we'll be using a function, which is going to be something like getFrame. This function is responsible for returning frames of the video. Actually, it's not a function. This is going to be a generator. But for generators, you also use the def keyword. And the difference is that with generators, you use a yield statement instead of a return statement. You'll see what exactly that is. So we're going to capture the first frame, which is equal to video. So that object dot read. Success will be true if the frame is captured successfully, and frame will be the actual frame of the video because a video is made of different frames, different images. This is how OpenCV works. So we're gonna get each frame every milliseconds or so and then send it to Flask so that Flask serves those frames. It plays those frames on the web page. Once we have a frame, we want to encode that frame. Normally, if we just wanted to display it on our computer, not on a web app, we wouldn't have to encode it. But this is not the case here. So we can encode using cv2.encode. And we will work with JPG. So we will encode it in JPG format. So I'm going to pass here as a string.jpg and then the frame object. And the output of this expression will be stored in a variable. Let's say SC for success and encoded image. So we have two variables because this returns actually a tuple. The first value of that tuple is either true or false. So that will be stored in this variable. We don't need that in our case. So what we need is the other item of that tuple, which will be stored in this second variable, encoded image. That is the actual encoded frame. And then we want to get that encoded image and convert it to bytes using the 2bytes method. So that object we converted to bytes. So frame now will override that variable. You can also use another variable, but this is fine. We don't need that first value, so that's fine. And finally, we will use the yield keyword to return a byte object, which looks like this. And inside these quotes goes the header of the frame. So basically we are constructing an image, and images are made in bytes. So this is the header of the image, and it goes like this: frame /r/n, which will create basically a break line. And then after the n, without a slash, directly after the n, you should say content dash type colon space image jpeg /r/n, and that's the header. Now this will be concatenated with the frame that we created in here. So that frame contains the bytes. So we are concatenating this header, the bytes of this header, to the frame. And then lastly, after the frame, after the actual data that make up the image, we want to add another byte object, which is going to be just r and n. So some break lines. Let's have a look. Here we should have actually another r and another n, and that should do it. So that's our generator function. And that's all we have to do regarding the OpenCV part. Now, start the Flask part. So let's import Flask, or from Flask import the Flask class and render template as well, and the response. And I need to install Flask with pip install Flask. Right. And then the first thing you do is you create a Flask instance, which goes like this. So we have covered Flask already, so I'm not going to explain the details here. In the course you can find the lectures about creating a Flask web app. And then we're going to handle two routes. So with a decorator of @app.root, we handle the home page of the app, which is going to be served by this function. So define index or define home, whatever you call that, it doesn't matter. This will return a render template index.html, which is going to be a file we have to create in the project directory. So this is a root directory of my project where main.py is, and in the same directory I want to create a new directory called templates. This has to be exactly templates with lowercase letters, not templates or other words, exactly templates. Inside that we want to create an index.html file. This file is going to contain the HTML code which makes up the actual web page that I showed you earlier, where the camera was displaying, and you see, so we're gonna have this text here and then the actual streaming part of the video. Now it's frozen because I have stopped the web app. So I'm just going to paste some code here so you can pause the video and copy this code. This is HTML, it's not Python, so I'm not going to type that in. Basically what we have is some HTML declarations here, and then we have the head part. We have the title. This is a title that will show in the tab if there was a tab here. And this other text then that you see in here is generated by this h1 tag, live webcam streaming. So that's the body of the web page. This inside these body tags goes all the contents of the visible content of the web page. In our case, we have this text and we have the video. So that is the h1 text, and then we have the video. Now the video is represented through an image element, HTML image. So you see img, and the source of this image is equal to this quotes, and then we have this double curly brackets here and here, and these are Jinja template tags. So this is part of Flask. Inside this we say URL4, so URL underscore 4, and so that is a function. Inside that function we say video feed. Now what is video feed? Well, video feed is gonna be another function. So this function serves the web page. When the user goes to the web page, they enter the IP address and they see the web page. But we need another function which will handle the actual video streaming part. And this needs its own URL, such as video feed /URL. You can choose whatever you like here, but then the name of the function is going to be video feed, because it has to be the same name with this URL4. So this image is going to display images that come from the video feed function. That one here, this one here. Now this function, what it does is it returns a response object. A response is the class we imported in here, and response now expects a generator, which is getFrame. So you need to call that generator like that, and that is the first argument. Then you also need to declare what type of data are you streaming, and that would be the string multipart /x mixed -replace semicolon boundary equal to frame. And that's it. Make sure you have saved all your files, unless your IDE saves them automatically. And we're almost done here. Expect we need to run the app, the Flask app. To do that, we say if name is equal to main, then we say app.run, debug is equal to true, and that's it. You could also avoid all that and just say app.run and it will work, but this is a good practice for running Flask apps. So now I'm ready to run this code. And the code I have to run is main.py, so that's the entry point of the Flask app. So I'm going to run main.py. And you're going to see this on the command line, unless you have some errors, which you need to figure out what's the issue there. And you see this URL, that's now the URL of the web app. If you click that, normally we should see the video streaming, but this is just a static image, which I guess if I refresh it, it's gonna show different images as I'm moving. So I'll lift my hand now, there you go, as I refresh the app. We can fix that by going to the getFrame function and implement a while true loop. So all you have to say is while true, and then you get all that code and indent it under the while loop. Then save the script. Flask should get the changes automatically if you save that script. Otherwise, you have to go here, click there, Control C to stop the app, or Command C, and then run the app again. And then go again to the web page, reload it, and now we're seeing a live video. So it seems to be working. However, we have an issue here. So what I just did is I wrote the code on one computer, I run it in the same computer, and then I access it. I access the web app from the same computer. Now, if you want to access the web app from another computer on the same network, then you need to go down here and copy that part. So duplicate it here, comment that out, and then here you say the host is going to be the string 0.0.0.0, the port is going to be 5001, and then you run the app again. You might have to stop it first by going here, Control C, or use the stop button, and then run again. And then to be able to access the web app from another computer, you need to find the IP address of this computer where your code is. On Mac, you can find it by going to the Apple icon, System Preferences, and then go to the network. And then down here, you will find your IP address. On Windows, to find the IP address on Windows, you have to open the command prompt and then type in ipconfig. And then look for the line that says IPv4 address. So that is the IP address. So once you get the IP address, be it on Mac or Windows, then you should have another device connected to the same wireless network and go to the browser of that device. It could be another laptop, a tablet, or a mobile phone. You should go to that browser and type in that IP address, if that's Windows or Mac, which you get it from there as I showed you, and then type in a colon. So the IP address goes there, whatever it is, and then type in a colon and 5001. That is the port that we set in here. So press enter, and that should normally show you the web app with a live streaming from the webcam of the other computer connected to the same network. So I hope this works for you. If you have a problem with the IP address, try to Google how to access the internal IP of a device from another device, and try different instructions on how to do that on your own environment, because some environments may differ from each other. And that's the code, the complete code for this app. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you.